levels as well is with us tonight. And Richard Butler, of course, the Over and Arsenal podcaster as well. Gentlemen, good evening to you. First of all, before I come to you, Richard, I'm going to come to you, Gordon. Somehow, with John Stones at the end and David Raya in goal, he manages to salvage a point from nowhere there at the end.
He certainly did. I mean, I couldn't see it coming. I mean, I think the Arsenal fans will be a little bit upset. The fact he said it was the 98th minute when there was 7 minutes added on at the end of the game for the extra time was added on 7 minutes, and the goal was beyond that 97th minute. So I think they would be a little bit upset. And fun enough, in the first half, the sending off was also beyond the time that was added on in the first half. So I can imagine that Mikel Arteta might be a little bit upset by that. He didn't look too pleased at the very end, but it was a strange game because, as I say, the ordering off changed it. It took away from the game to a degree because first half was quite open. Both teams were having a go. Arsenal got a little bit better as the first half went on. But see, as soon as they went down to 10 men, they just sat in. They just parked the bus for the second half. Yeah. And it looked like they were going to hang on there because the keeper had a couple of really good saves. But Man City weren't creating that many chances at all. And so it was quite a surprise when they actually got that equaliser in the 98th minute.
Richard, no surprise really that somehow Manchester City always find a way, which they've done under Pep Guardiola. But Arsenal looked as if they'd really done well. The sending off, first of all, what did you think? I thought you can't do what he did, really.
Not when you're on a yellow card, no. I mean, you know that referees are quite eager to give an Arsenal player a second yellow card anyway. We've seen that already this season. So you've just got to be a little bit more clever, haven't you? And I've got not necessarily any issues with the second yellow card. I think it was a yellow card and he probably deserved to get sent off. I think the biggest issue was if you saw just before that, the fourth official had said to Mikel Arteta, that's it, time's up for half-time. Yeah. And then still we played on for another minute for no reason whatsoever. And that's when that happened. So, yes, I'm not too bothered at the end. I thought that it said 7 minutes, but at 90 minutes, when 90 minutes went, I think it was Timber was injured and had some treatment, and then the game didn't restart for a couple of minutes. So I was expecting 99 minutes, really. But, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating that over added time we get a sending off and then over added time they score, but you know it seemed inevitable throughout the second half that eventually one way or the other Man City would score a second goal, whether it would be a moment of genius from somebody, it would be, as it turned out, a bit of a scrappy scramble in the 6-yard box, or it would just be Arsenal running out of legs. And I think that's what it was. I think the last maybe 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time, you could see we had some cramp in players were going down, and you know, we worked so hard with 10 men in the second half to shut the doors on Man City. You know, I think in a way it helped us because we know how they play because we play the same system, and maybe we've worked that in training plenty of times, defence against attack. We knew what they were going to do. We shut the doors. We closed the space down. We resorted them to shots from outside the box mainly, which we dealt with pretty comfortably. And I say just right at the end, I just think we switched off for a second at the short corner. First time we really allowed anybody to run into our box. Obviously Grealish did it, and you know they scrambled in the goal right at the end. But I mean, overall, despite everything that happened in the game, and it's one of the strangest games I think I've ever seen in the Premier League. From the first second when Rodri got injured straight away from the kickoff, the game was just an unbelievable game that you'll probably never see a game like that again. And the second half, I mean, you don't often see, do you, defence against attack to that extent. Arsenal just had no interest whatsoever in attacking, which you can understand. 2-1 up with 10 men away at City. You've got to hang on to what you've got. And, you know, our defence has been so strong and we were so close to getting a real significant, yes, it's early in the season, it's not a title deciding game or anything like that, but a significant victory away at our biggest rivals. That would have been such a statement. And to get that close is so frustrating. But I think overall a draw is a good result for Arsenal away from home at City. We'll take that, and stay unbeaten. It's got a little, to me, it's got the vibes a little bit of, I know it's too early in the season, but when the unbeaten season, when that game at Man United, when they missed a penalty in the last seconds at the bar, we went on to go unbeaten. Almost today, it feels a little bit like that kind of a moment, really.
Okay.
I know it's the other way around. We conceded a goal, but I don't know, it feels like this Arsenal team have got some sort of resilience in them now that we didn't have before.
I'm going to come back to Gordon now. Gordon, using one of your many hats here as well. It's a difficult one at times here. The game is so cute and clever. You don't know if people are injured. I mean, Rodri obviously was, but you're never quite sure what's going on. You're never sure how much time should be added on. I think the referees have a very difficult decision to make. They're working with VAR, and the players themselves are just so cute these days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I see it. It does frustrate me to a great degree that players go down an awful lot when you see the replay, they've hardly been touched at all, hardly any contact. And I do believe that if you've got VAR, why do they not let the people who are looking at VAR tell the referee that player is acting it? You know, he's not been touched. He definitely then he should get a yellow card. And the more yellow cards you would give for that. When I was at the SFA, we were the first country in the world to bring in retrospective punishment for players who cheated to get penalty kicks, an opponent sent off, or a free kick that led to a goal. Those were the three incidents that I put aside in terms of using retrospective VAR for, and we then punished the players if they were caught in one of those situations. And I think that that's the only way to deal with it is actually to do something about it when you've actually got a situation where players are cheating in this respect. So that's one of my frustrations of the game these days. But as I say, I also am a believer in the fact that one of the things I suggested, I was in UEFA and FIFA committees, I suggested that the clock should stop automatically when the play stops. If the ball's out of play, if somebody's getting treatment, and when the play starts again, the clock starts again. So the referee doesn't decide on it; it's decided for him. That's the time up, and then for as long as it's when the ball's in play, you play for the full 45 minutes and not in to do with adding time on and all that sort of thing. I believe that would be better for the game as well.
I completely agree with everything you're saying there, Gordon, because particularly with the amount of replacements you're allowed to use in real time in the match, and also that for the fans, then there's no drama on that. The time is the time. You know exactly. Because I mean, League One's my side at the moment. Cambridge, we're two divisions down, but we don't know from 1 week to the next whether 4 minutes turns into 6 minutes or 7 minutes or 3 minutes. And I don't think it helps anybody. Do you?
No, correct. And as I say, it's the easiest thing in the world to do, just a stopwatch that just says the game is now restarted, start the watch again. And away you go, and it's 45 minutes each way. And I don't know why they can't think of things like that, but I used to say a few things when I was on these committees that got rejected. And you know, the funny thing was, the one for free kicks when they spray the free kick, that was being, when I was on a committee with FIFA, that was actually being trialled in Brazil. And we were all ex-players were on that committee, and we had to have a decision whether this was to be brought in. I was the only one that voted in favour of it at the time. Every other ex-player said no, and I went, wait a minute. I said, I've never seen a free kick yet where the wall is actually 10 yards away from where the ball is, because as soon as the referee turns his back, the players move the ball. As soon as he turns back to the player with the ball, the wall moves, don't they? Yeah. You know, the wall's usually about 6 yards away from where the free kick is, because until that spray came in, that's made a big difference. But people don't like a change in the game. That's the hardest thing you've got. They just like we don't want to make changes to the football matches. This will affect the game and all that. But I'm a great believer in it. Yeah,
I am too. Richard, do you think that you're in good shape at the moment? I think it's got a lot more twists and turns because Liverpool are obviously back. There are one or two other sides that are showing real promise too. It's going to be, I think, a cracking season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've had a good start. I mean, we've had some tough games, obviously. We've had Tottenham away, Man City away, games where we've struggled in recent years. So we've got them out of the way with 4 points. I think that's a real positive. And, yeah, I mean, we look much more solid defensively. I'm still a little bit worried about our creativity going forward without Martin Odegaard in the team in particular. We're not creating a lot of chances in these games. And, yes, they're tough games anyway, but I think if we can solve that problem a bit better, we're going to have a great season. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you know, we showed today that against the best team probably in Europe over the last few years, you know, the amount of league titles that they've won, that we can go there with 10 men and we can pretty much hold out almost for 99 minutes. And I think that shows that this team's got a little bit more about them now than maybe we've had in the previous 2 years when it hasn't quite happened for us. So, yeah, I'm feeling fairly confident at the moment. Yes, Liverpool look pretty strong. Like you said, Villa are going well. They look really good at the moment, but they did last year and then fell away a bit. You know, Newcastle there and thereabouts. So there's obviously it's a Premier League. It's not going to be easy, is it? And, you know, City are still a great side. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel that maybe, you know, 4 years in a row, no one's done that before. Have they really got it in them to win a 5th title? I don't know. They looked a bit out of ideas in that second half, Man City today, towards the end. You could see that it wasn't their day. And I don't know. I've got a feeling that maybe their time might be over. We've got the charges to come. We don't know what the result of that's going to be. We need to be ready, and we are ready.
Aren't they? They're relying so much on him, whereas Arsenal have got different players that can score. But I do think, it's funny that you spoke about that, because the two most creative players were Odegaard and De Bruyne weren't available today for either team. And they're two of the best players in the league, two of the most creative players. So, as I say, I felt myself that one of the things that they would be doing, you know, Arsenal would be to make sure that they stopped Haaland playing, because he's been in unbelievable form this season. I mean, that was his 100th goal today. He's got more goals than he's played league games, which is incredible for any player. So I thought if they keep him quiet, and the marking for the first goal, I thought it was pretty poor marking actually, because no one was on him. He's ran between two players and scored, so that was poor marking from Arsenal's point of view.
And just looking at where we are in Scotland, of course, you're very much part of the Rangers setup there. It's already the battle has commenced, and off we go again for a season for those two sides. What are your thoughts, Gordon? Finally,
well, I think that the Rangers have got a lot of problems at the moment. There's a big gulf between the two clubs. You know, Celtic are a very strong position. They're 5 points ahead in the league. They beat Rangers recently comfortably 3-0. Rangers had a good result, obviously, in the League Cup. Through to the semi-final. The semi-final, they've got Motherwell. They've been drawn against Motherwell today, so they've avoided Celtic in the semi-final. But Celtic are better than Rangers at the moment. There's no doubt about it, player-wise. And Rangers, the biggest problem they've had is recruitment to get in the quality of player that is required to put in a challenge. And I don't see a challenge at the moment.
Gordon, it's terrific for you to join us. Thank you very much indeed. That's Gordon Smith and Richard Butler from over in Arsenal. Celtic against Aberdeen, Motherwell against Rangers in the League Cup to come on Saturday, the 7th of November. It's the Sunday Night Club you're listening to on Talk. And next, well, Forest. What a game at Brighton today.